The first question says to describe the role of assistive technologies in the classroom. Assistive technology is anything that makes doing a task easier that is more difficult to do without this specific technology or tool. The most obvious example in classrooms would be pen and paper, for example. It's easier to write notes than to remember them in your head. Or computers, it's easier to find information on the internet than it is to flip through a million books. Then it says, what past experiences have you personally had with assistive technology? I think that glosses and contexts for sure is an easy one to name. That makes seeing actually possible for me. And then also, I am kind of dyslexic, and so um, I download a lot of audiobooks, and because I like to read, but it's just harder and it takes more time. And so, having somebody read it out loud to me, I can still do something that I enjoy, and it's actually like attainable. And then it says, out of the assistive technologies looked at this week, which did you find most interesting or most applicable for your teaching area? Well, my favorite one that I looked at was the IntelliKeys. I love that video. I've never seen anything like that. The fact that you could change the keyboards and the letters and the positioning of the keys to meet somebody's specific needs, or to enlarge the keys, or to only have letters, or to only have the arrows and the shift and the enter keys. Um, the fact that you could give different keys certain commands, and you could really customize and personalize the keyboard for you. That would be great for students with cerebral palsy, for example. But I'm going to be teaching kindergarten, at least I hope to. And so a lot of the assistive technologies that we looked at throughout the modules were computer related. Small children won't really be using computers too much. Teachers normally do. Um, and so I think that one that I can think of there is pencil grips. When kids are learning how to write, pencil grips can help them out a lot, being able to hold the pencil and be able to maneuver it, learning that cognitive function of actually writing. Um, it says, as provided in the article, describe 3 of the 6 applications. Okay. Um, so, existence is one, and that is anything that is necessary to sustain life. So, feeding and sleeping, and personal care. So, the book gave the example of spoons, and I'm going to give the example of toothbrush. That would be a personal care thing. And then another one here is positioning. And the positioning would be anything that assists with movement. The book gave the example of wheelchairs. And I'm going to give the example of the passenger and the driver's side mirrors on your car. This helps you to see behind you without actually turning your head, or to see areas that you normally couldn't see even if you did turn your head. Um, Lastly, I will talk about mobility, and that is anything that makes it easier to do um, physical tasks that are hard to do. The book gave the examples of a cane or a walker. Something that I could give the example for is, I'm not sure what they're called, but you'll notice that at pools they have them. Um, it's something that lowers somebody into the pool that is handicapped. So it's like a seat, and then you press a button. It's kind of an elevator into the pool. And then it says, lastly, find one additional assistive technology that was not listed in the module. Okay, so I have a couple of examples. I used to watch the show Switched at Birth a lot, which is just like this ABC show about this daughter, and she's deaf. And anyway, one of the big parts in it is whether or not her friend should get a cochlear implant. So that's how I heard about that. And what that is something that makes it possible for people who are hard of hearing or who are deaf to actually hear or to at least recognize certain sounds, rather than just like feeling my vibrations. Um, and that's pretty difficult to explain, but just to like hit the key aspects of it, there are like three parts. There is a piece that goes behind your ear on the outside, a piece that goes beneath the skin behind the ear on the inside, and then another piece that goes into the cochlea inside of the head. Um, and then this piece sends sound signals to the auditory nerve, which then makes it possible to hear. And then one last example that I want to give is this really cool one I learned about in an art class that I took, way back. And there is this man, and his name is, I have to look at it. Um, Neil Harbison, and he is an artist known for the work that he does with color, but he is actually a colorblind artist. He worked with a group of engineers to create this assistive technology. It was like specialized for him. I'm sure they're more common now since it has come out in 2003 when they made it for him. But anyway, it's a color sensor eye. He wears it on top of his head, and anywhere that he looks, the eye sees it, and then the eye sends frequency to a chip installed in the back of his head, and then this makes a noise, and so he can more or less hear color. So anytime the eye sees blue, it makes a certain tone, and he can hear this in his head. Anytime it sees pink, it's a different tone. So he's known for his paintings, because anytime in his like computer digital works, he says that he can see songs because songs have a bunch of different tones. So whenever he hears the different notes, he paints the color that he hears. And vice versa, he can then look at photos and paintings and then like play on the keyboard what that photo sounds like to him, looking at different parts of it. So anyway, those are two of the coolest ones that I've seen. But yes, in classrooms, I think that the biggest assistive technologies that we use, for sure, is computers, and for teachers like smart boards. But a lot of teachers and students will need specific assistive technology, and that's covered by like IDEA. So anyway, that's all.